loves. I'm Sarah. I'm 20. I'm a queer fangirl who spends too much time on the internet.
I'm Robert. I'm not quite 50. And I don't spend as much time on the internet, but I have seen way too many movies and TV shows. And this is 50v20.
The podcast where we take a look at queer representation in media.
One ship at a time.
It's sort of beautiful.
It really was.
I know this sounds dumb, but us, we now think about it. Like we work. We know it because we lived it. Who gets that kind of proof of concept?
We were just injected with a half century of emotion, so I get that maybe you're not thinking clearly.
No, I'm just saying, what if we gave it a shot? Would that be that crazy? Why the fuck not?
I know you, and you aren't.
What's the matter?
Don't be naive, it matters. Q, come on. I love you, but you have to know that that's not me, and that's definitely not you, not when we have a choice.
Okay. Sorry,
Hi! Sorry. We're so happy and so excited.
We're so happy as Eliot's trapped inside a monster. Because if you're just joining us now, go listen to the other episodes.
Yeah, none of this is going to make sense.
We're currently on a conversation about Eliot from The Magicians. And we were just getting started on Season 4, Episode 5, Escape from the Happy Place, and decided to save it to go with the finale.
Yeah! Sorry.
We see their conversation that we only saw the briefest part of at the end of Life in the Day.
Yeah.
I didn't write who's talking here, because it was a lot of dialogue.
I can tell you.
What's back and forth, I think. It was sort of beautiful, it really was. I know this sounds dumb, but us, we, think about it like we work. I think this is Eliot. Quentin.
No, Quentin's the one who says they work.
Who gets that kind of proof of concept? We were just injected with a half century of emotion. So get that maybe you're not thinking clearly. No, I'm just saying, what if we gave it a shot? I mean, would that be crazy? Why the fuck not? I know you, and you aren't, and this is most likely Eliot. What's the matter? Don't be naive. It matters. Q, come on. I love you, but you have to know that that's not me, and that's definitely not you. Not when we have a choice. And then outside Eliot talks to that Eliot.
Yeah.
And says,
What the hell is wrong with you? And what the hell are you doing? Someone good and true loves you. And he went out on a limb. And yeah, it was a little crazy, but you knew this was a moment that truly mattered, and you just snuffed it out.
And then he says to Q, even though Q can't hear him, because he's not really there.
Q, I'm sorry. I was afraid. And when I'm afraid, I run away. If I ever get out of here, Q, know that when I'm braver, it's because I learned it from you.
Which is very nice.
And then a kiss. Oh, cuties.
And so then, because he finally found the worst memory, he finds the door to get out. And right as Quentin is going to throw their little potion thing onto Eliot in the real world, Eliot comes out in front of instead of the monster. Mm-hmm. And to prove he's him, he says,
Q. Q. It's me. It's Eliot.
Okay, no games. Come on, let's just go.
It's Eliot.
No, bullshit. Come on.
50 years. Who gets proof of concept like that?
What?
Peaches and plums, motherfucker. I'm alive in here.
Which is perfect.
Yeah.
He's only got a moment to
it.
say something, and
No, it was
and
great.
Quentin knows.
He's like,
Elliot's in there.
It's real. Yeah. Yeah, that moment. Oh my god. Crazy.
So yeah, we get to learn a lot about Eliot in this episode.
Yeah.
With all the flashbacks.
I think it's really interesting, the idea that, like, his most traumatic moment out of everything was, like, the moment that he himself stood in front of his own happiness.
Mm-hmm. Well, even,
like, that's just...
even the thing he thought was going to be the most embarrassing, the flashback to him bullying someone, is the same thing. It's him denying who he is and doing the opposite.
Yeah.
And then the actual one is the same thing, but now as an adult, he's still that same way.
Yeah.
Is that even though he can be open about being who he is,
mm-hmm.
he still has to hide parts of it, and he gets afraid when some of it might lead to something real.
Yeah. So. Not very good with the feelings aspect of it. Yeah. Yeah. The scene is amazing. Fun fact, it's the first scene I ever saw of the show. I wonder why.
Yeah.
No, yeah. Everyone was just like, all the Tumblr peeps were just sharing this scene left and right, you know, so cute. So,
and it was great at the time too, because when A Life in the Day happened, I'm like, that was one of my favorite episodes of TV.
Yeah,
because it was about so much and so little.
It was kind of giving Up.
Yeah, the first 15 minutes of Up, right?
So cute.
And then this just a year later, ish. I don't know if the episode aired a year later, but it's one season later. They go back to that conversation and let us know what happened at the time and why Eliot regrets it now. Now they're in the middle of all these other problems with him being a monster.
So it's not really going to come up again.
No. Well, ever, kind of, because by the time...
Well, now ever, but at the time, like, especially not anytime soon. Like,
I'm trying to remember what happens to the monster, exactly. Because by the time we get to the next episode we watched, Eliot's still not there.
Don't they stab him? I'm not really sure of the logistics, but they stab him in the stomach, and then they trap the monster in this thing.
Oh, they pull him out and put him in that little bottle, right?
Yeah.
And so they never get the chance to actually interact, Quentin and Eliot, because
no, they don't interact in the last
Eliot
episode at all. Really.
Has been injured, and Quentin they have limited amount of time to get to the scene.
Yeah.
Because the monster and the monster's sister will get out. But the big thing to talk about here, though, is the end of that season 4, episode 13. No better to be safe than sorry. They're having a standoff with Everett at the seam. And we had gotten in the previously on footage the reference to the fact that Quentin was always good at the minor mending spell. And in the mirror world or underworld or whatever they call it, you're not supposed to do magic. Mm-hmm. Because it can backfire.
Yeah.
They play a song. What is this? Cruel World by Active Child.
I said that I really hated this montage, and you were like, no, it's good.
I don't remember what the montage was.
I think it's terrible. No, I'm sorry.
Oh, you mean the slow motion. No, that... Yeah, this is then.
I don't like the slow motion moment. I don't like the song that's playing. I don't like the way that it looks like they're doing a weird sort of, like, experimental interpretive dance, but, like, in the 50s. I just
There's
didn't...
no color down there. And it's slow-mo because it's dramatic.
But why
it's
are
magic.
the actors, like, moving? Like, I just don't get it. And then you have Alice making it about herself again. Just, like, I hate it.
Well...
I'm sorry. No, I get it.
Yes.
I get why she's sad. I'm sorry. She's not being selfish. I just
Everett breaks the
don't care.
mirror without magic, and in order to throw the bottles in, Quentin mends it.
Yeah.
That
Anyway.
backfires, the whole thing blows up, but they do get the bottles.
It wasn't the
first.
vibe. For me. Sorry.
In the moment, 4 seasons in, this was sad and dramatic, the slow motion. You had to slow that down so we could experience it. So, like being sad. Because we know that that's going to go badly. We don't know he's going to die.
Yeah.
Unless you're... I guess if you knew personally fans on, like, the East Coast, maybe you would have heard ahead. Sci-Fi might have had it on early. I don't remember.
Sorry. I don't know why I got so excited. So the fans... There were spoilers going around that Quentin was going to die. Like, people already knew that. People who kept up with spoilers. But...
We didn't know it'd be permanent.
Right.
We didn't know they'd show him go to the afterlife.
That was the catch, is, like, everyone that I knew who was sharing spoilers at the time was like, Hugh's gonna die. But I don't think anyone thought he wouldn't be in the next season.
Right.
Like, I think they thought they would deal with something with
Right,
that.
at this point, Penny had died, but he was still around.
Right.
There was Penny 23 plus Penny 40
Yeah, so
in
people
the underworld.
people thought it was gonna be that situation.
So you don't like the song either?
I like the song, it just didn't make me feel sad. I'm sorry.
Because I put some of the lyrics in, because, for some reason that's something that gets my attention. When they choose good songs. Or appropriate songs.
I didn't think it was appropriate, but it is a good song.
Well, I mean, the lyrics are appropriate. Because it says, I dedicate my life to something richer and all the things that come. Because that's no price at all, and I know you'll be there. I want you to know I care, because keep your head up, hold your head up, even though it's a cruel world.
Mm-hmm.
It's nice. And in the moment, Quentin doesn't... I don't think he even necessarily knows Eliot's going to survive. I don't remember how bad they had wounded him. But he didn't have a chance to check.
It was pretty bad.
Yeah. And that's fine. Quentin dies. It's like, that's sad. We've known he's been gay since season 1, so it doesn't quite fit the Barry Gray's trope, because it's not a sudden...
Well, he's not gay.
It's not like he just came out, whatever he is.
We just use, just FYI, we just use gay as, like, queer, whatever.
He's queer,
here.
yeah. It's not like he just said, like, as they were walking there, oh, by the way, I'm gay, and then goes in there and dies. So it doesn't quite fit that trope. It does fit the larger one.
Yeah, no.
It's like, just as they're walking. I mean, since we're not in a hurry.
Just so everyone knows.
By the way.
But I cared about the whole world because of you. You changed me, Dean.
Why does this sound like a goodbye?
Because it is. I love you.
They'll do this, Cass.
Eliot, I love you. Goodbye.
And
Giving
so,
Supernatural.
So the real bad thing in the episode comes later. Even though they do get an answer, him asking the question at all is a problem. Because when he's with Penny 40, he's talking about his life and how he was suicidal since he was young and depressed.
Most of my life I've been in and out of hospitals, and just suicidal thoughts and notes, and a lot of notes and attempts and meds and therapy, and then I found break pills. And all that went away. I thought, but...
But?
Do you have the quote?
Yeah.
Did I do something brave to save my friends? Or did I finally find a way to kill myself?
Yeah. No, that was inappropriate.
And, like, Penny gives an answer that tells us outright. He does. I forget what he says, is how he phrases it, but...
I think you know your answer now. The story, for them, it's just starting. But it won't be the same story. Because of you. You didn't just save their lives. You changed their lives. As much as they changed yours. You didn't want to leave all that, did you?
The answer's the first one. You did something brave to save your friends. But the fact that they had Quentin ask it after all this time means, like, at 4 years on, watching the show, we want to think Quentin's getting better. Whether or not you actually can. It's TV. People are supposed to get better over time.
Mm-hmm.
And part of the thing with magicians is they don't necessarily, because it's realistic in that regard, but that makes it problematic in this regard, because it's like, we had this lead character who is bisexual, or whatever he is. We don't know what all he would have had sex with, given the chance. It's magic. You can have sex with anything.
No, anyway.
Margot's boyfriend is a fish at one point, although she doesn't have sex with him while he's a fish.
Okay. Can we get on track?
Yeah. And that's good, but then it's like, he's still afraid that he did all this just to kill himself again. Mm-hmm. And he shouldn't think that. Even if another character had suggested it, might have played better, but him asking means he thinks it.
Yeah, if another character had been like, why'd you do that? And he's like, for my friends, and it wasn't about himself, then it would have been a little bit different. But
right.
Yeah, the whole like, oh.
But the implication is that he's being honest, because that's the whole point of the conversation with Penny.
Yeah, I'm just
honest about your life and you get to move on.
I'm just super tired of this, like, movie and TV show trope where, like, someone has to, like, I'm okay with sacrificing, I guess, because sure, that can happen in magical worlds and whatever. But I don't think it's a very, like, nice message to be sending to your mostly mentally ill fans.
Yeah. Yes.
Like, hey, if you kill yourself, the world will be better.
I'll link to that podcast thing of mine again in this episode's description, but that was a part of the thing I wrote about this episode. I wrote it a week after this episode aired, and it was after watching all this conversation going on Twitter specifically, back and forth, even involving some of the showrunners and people talking about Hale Appleman's interview, probably the one from Us, which was about early in the season.
Yeah.
Or Out, not Us.
Yeah.
Where he ships Quilliot. But that is definitely a trope of characters sacrificing themselves for their friends. And sometimes it can work very well if the plot has created a situation where anyone can die and it can be permanent. In this case, no one dies permanently.
Right.
In this show.
Right. I think it's even worse when it is a character who has been, like, personally suicidal at some point.
Right, that's season, like, episode 1, we know that.
I don't like it ever, personally, but I think, like, the only way it might work in a show or something is if the character, like, purely was just being a hero. It wasn't for them or for their mental sake or any... Yeah. It wasn't even a question. In this case... It's not even just, like, a question, like, it's, like, he literally has been dead for, like, 2 seconds, and he's like, did I just kill myself? Like, that's not...
Also, though, I don't remember how it's set up earlier in the season or whatever, that magic backfires in that, mirror world.
Yeah.
But I don't think it kills you. I don't think they know that. Like, it just, in this case, it does, because it's dealing with the seam, and so it's extra powerful, I think. So I don't think he even knew it would kill him, which means he shouldn't think this is going to kill me when he does it. He also does it without thinking, but
yeah,
it shouldn't be the thing he was thinking after the fact, because it doesn't necessarily fit the situation even.
Yeah, it's just very awkward. It's just very awkward.
And meanwhile, fans are crying and sad, and he's being like, did I just find a way to kill myself? He's like, no, shut the fuck up.
Yeah. No. Yeah, I don't know. I don't like it. I thought it was weird. I thought it was wonky. Everyone was sad.
Now, the end of the episode I like, though. with them all singing "Take on Me" because it's a thing on this show.
Wait.
Magic makes songs happen.
Wait,
sometimes.
Wait, it was giving Theater Kid, and I hated it.
I liked it, especially because, like, you know, Eliot comes in on the, I forget which.
No, Eliot Hale Appleman has a great voice, let me say it, but I still didn't like it.
I think he comes in and says, "I'm odds and ends, but I'll be stumbling away, slowly learning that life is okay." I think is the line where he and Margot walk up.
Yeah. I was just giving Theater
That's
Kid.
a good song. You know, speaking, I mentioned Sing Street last episode in passing. That songs comes up there.
So if you're in a band, sing me a song.
I can't sing out here.
You're gonna have to sing for like thousands of people. I'm just one. Sing.
Don't make me sing. Jesus.
Sing that song off the radio. You know, the one by Aha. Sing it. Sing it.
No, slow. Take on me, take me on. That's all I know.
It was cute. I get it. I'm just bitter. It's fine.
Also, in the long run of the show, anytime the character starts singing, I loved it. Because it's usually like these most dramatic moments. Like the showrunners had this thing at a certain point where they realized the reason musicals happen is because the big songs happen because characters have things that they can't put into words. And so they just use that because magic can make it happen. And that's what, I think it's Katie that snaps her fingers so that the music starts. And so Alice starts singing because she creates a musical.
We're talking away. I don't know what I'm just saying, I'll say it anyway. Today's another day to find you shying away. I'll be coming for your love, okay? Take on me.
Take on me.
Take me on.
Take on me.
I'll be gone in a day or two.
So needless to say, I'm odds and ends, but that's me, I'm stumbling away. Slowly learning that life is okay.
Say after me, it's no better to be safe than sorry. Take on me.
Take on me.
Take me on.
Take on me.
I'll be gone in a day or two.
You know what I think though is like, in the books, Q doesn't die, right?
Right.
And so no one like thinks he's going to die.
Hmm.
And so I do think that's just kind of like unfair of
like fans from the books coming and watching?
Yeah, because, you know, honestly, like, if someone said, like, oh, your favorite book is being a TV show, and they kill, like, the main character who you have, like, such an emotional, like...
I think The Expanse did that also, where in the show they killed someone who hadn't died in the books, and people were like, what the hell?
Like, imagine they freaking did a Harry Potter show and they just killed Harry Potter. Like...
Killing Harry would be a problem, I think, for the plot.
Be like,
but I get that,
yeah. Like, and no warning, no whatever. Because you know what, too, like... I feel like I enjoy watching things that I've read the books of sometimes because,
sure, yeah.
Because even though it steers from it, you feel like you do have some sort of like safety net or maybe like security blanket. Do you know what I mean? Like when I watch Shadowhunters, like
you read those before you watched the show?
I would, well, kind of simultaneously, but I knew that like in the books, Magnus and Alec were fine. And so, like, I assume, like, in the TV show, they're gonna be fine.
Right.
Like, they're gonna get married. That's what they do in the books. It's cute. Like, no matter
The
what
only
fights
problem
you go
is
through,
if
they'll get
you're
married.
Game of Thrones, you get ahead of the books. Cause it's slow.
Yeah. And I think that's a thing for, like, a lot of, like, neurodivergent people or autistic people. I've heard of other people doing that, where, like, they like to know. Not the whole plot, but, like, this horrible thing that I mentally don't want to happen because it'll upset me too much. I know it's not going to happen, so it's okay.
Right.
But it does. It did happen.
But it did,
So it was kind of just mean.
It's like, 2 episodes ago we started the conversation about magicians mentioning the Does the Dog Die website.
Yeah, exactly.
It's that same thing where sometimes there are certain things you want to know ahead of time.
Yeah.
Personally, I don't like spoilers even when they're huge for me. But I understand why some people would, and especially if you are fully invested and if it was something based on books and you read them all and you're eager for this, you want it to come out mostly the same.
Yeah. Or at least, I mean, not like I do like spoilers personally. I don't like to know every single thing that's gonna happen. But if someone can be like, look, like, they're gonna go through a lot of drama, but at the end of it, like, these characters eventually get married, or these characters live, or whatever it is. Like, just knowing that, I'm like, okay, I'll go through the drama. It's fine. Because I know that the payoff at the end will be worth it.
Right.
The problem is that, like, with the Magicians, a lot of the fans felt like the payoff and time they invested in watching the show, which is kind of a downer, wasn't worth it.
I know their ratings were lower the next season, but also it was season 5 of the show on Sci-Fi, so they might have been lower anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how much of an impact it made, but I know when this episode aired, so many people for that next week were like, I'm not watching next year.
Yeah.
If the show gets ruined, I'm not back.
Yeah.
And when the show was coming back, there were a bunch of people I knew who were like, yeah, I'm not watching that anymore.
Yeah, I don't have the statistics on it, but personally I know people who stopped watching because of that.
I assume there's some. I don't know if we can have an accurate measure of how many, but I assume there are some.
Yeah.
And then season 5 was the end, so... Were there good moments in season 5? Yes. I watched the whole thing and kept up, but I also have trouble dropping shows. When I knew, their seasons are 12 episodes? I can watch 12 or 13 episodes.
Yeah.
If it was a 25 episode season or something, like a network show back in the day, I might be like, yeah, I don't need to keep watching that.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know why the writers were like, yeah, that's a good idea.
Structurally, it's a good idea.
And then my favorite part is that after that happened...
Personally, it's not.
Is that after that happened, like, no one really wanted to take responsibility for it. Everyone's like, I didn't do it. I'm like, one of you did it.
Well, someone did it, yeah.
One of you had this idea.
What, Sean McNamara or... What's her name? Sarah Gamble.
Well, the author, who I don't believe was involved with the writing.
The author of the books.
The author of the books.
Oh.
At first he was like, yeah, I knew they were going to do it, and it was great. And then later he's like, oh, I'm sorry.
They probably... That's actually good if he knew, because it means... I mean, I think he was also a producer. But
yeah,
that's the kind of thing, when you
involved.
are adapting someone's books and you are changing something later, you do want to check with that.
Yeah, like,
or at least let them
good
know.
if we do this?
Because he needs to be prepared to talk about it.
Yeah.
Unlike what they did with Hale Appleman, who...
Well, all of the cast.
Right, but
especially Hale.
He had the interview out in February of that year, so about the time, like, the season had just started. And they're asking him about Quelliot, and he's like, does he ship it? Absolutely.
Well,
like,
the thing that I have a major problem with is, like, writers and showrunners, whatever, at the end of the day, you're an artist. You can do whatever the heck you want. It's your art. Write whatever you want. Like, people can like it or they don't. I just don't like the idea of, like, those people involved not having, like, I don't mean to get rude to anyone involved, but, like, not having respect for the people that work for them, for the people who stuck with them, the people who support them. I just think that's not cool, because literally, like, the Magicians cast, they obviously knew he died because they filmed a scene at the funeral, so they did know. But they filmed a fake scene that was like I don't know what was in it exactly, but it was like a decoy, I guess.
For that episode?
Yeah.
Okay.
So they filmed a fake scene for that episode where just whatever knowledge it was that, like, Quentin could come back, kind of thing. So they all thought, like, okay, he's dead, but he'll come back. And no one knew that Jason Ralph wasn't gonna be in the 5th season. And also, Jason Ralph wasn't...
He did, right?
He did.
He knew he wasn't coming
But Jason Ralph wasn't allowed to tell anyone.
Right.
Which I think is also rude to him.
Yeah, that's a problem. I can even get, often TV shows will have, Yellowstone does this a lot, where people will get shot in the season finale. Mm-hmm. And it's like, if that actor was like, gonna ask for more money, you're like, oh, by the way, your character died during the summer. You're not coming back.
Yeah.
And they're like setting themselves up at the end of the season because then they can deal with the aftermath if a character's done or an actor has gotten bored and wants to move on. In this case, it wasn't that. And it's a, 13 episode season with a cast who is, I think in conversations outside this, you have suggested like they shouldn't be sending Hale Appleman out on interviews promoting it, but they're going to do that either way. Mm-hmm. What they should do is make sure, however far enough ahead they planned, Quentin's dying at the end of the season. Let other people know.
Yeah, because
you don't want them saying stuff.
I really
that is like, I look forward to our relationship next season.
I really don't understand why they didn't tell them, unless it was to try to get some of the press to be confused. Because number one, there were already spoilers that people knew he died, so it wasn't about that. And
Jason Ralph from talking, they can tell other people, not to tell people.
And out of just respect for your actors, I'm pretty sure your actors can keep a secret. So
I know there are famous movie and TV moments where people hid things, supposedly in Empire Strikes Back. They didn't have the line of dialogue, I am your father.
Yeah.
When they filmed it, because it was going to be voiced over anyway later. But, so it couldn't be spoiled.
Yeah.
And there's use for that in a movie, because it's brief. It's a production's over, but a TV show is taking months to put together. People are going out and promoting your show, doing interviews. Mm-hmm. You should probably, or maybe double check on things they're going to say. I mean, I don't know that Hale Applebaum, Applemen, right?
Yeah,
I don't know why I keep wanting to call him Applebaum.
I kept calling him Applegate. I don't know what Applegate is.
Sorry, Hale, if you're listening.
We love you.
Come on the show. You can talk about whatever you want.
No, he can't. He signed an NDA.
Outside of your NDAs. You can talk about some other show. You like Heartstopper? Come talk about it.
We'll talk to you about anything, to be honest.
Young Royals? Sure.
We love you.
But he probably doesn't have to have permission from the producers to do interviews. They don't necessarily send him out on every interview.
No.
The things happen somewhat independently, at least some of the time. But they should know their actors do talk to people.
Right.
And I would think someone in the production would be like, some agent would be like, Hale's doing an interview without, should we avoid anything or talk about it?
Well,
unless we know from some source that they did.
By the way, everyone, I am a comm PR major. So, hello. Before people do interviews majority of the time, they do get a list, whether it be from your agent or whoever is managing.
Right, I'm just saying we don't know if there was one or what it said.
No, I know, we don't know what it said. But for sure they could have. I'm just saying the showrunners had the opportunity literally just to send an email to the manager and be like, hey, if he does interviews, have him talk about this. Have him maybe not talk about this.
Yeah. Or as soon as you know your lead is leaving the show, make sure the cast knows that.
Yeah.
Because also they should be, even if they're going to keep that part of it to themselves, be like, I'm really excited for having a larger role next season. They could use that vagueness to get people interested.
Sure. Yeah.
So, I would be curious what sort of control they had over what he knew.
And I just feel badly because for a little more context, when that scene came out in season 4, episode 5, a lot of people started sharing it on the internet because they're like, oh my god, this is so cute.
Yeah.
Shortly around that time, the magazine thing came out where he was like, I ship Quelliot, I hope we get more Quelliot, whatever it was.
I think that interview had just come out the week before.
Yeah.
So it was concurrent.
It was around the same time. And so I personally know that there were people who started watching the show because of that
interview.
Mm. That's why I started watching season 1.
Oh, right.
So it kind of was.
It sets
fading.
up.
The problem is that a lot of these fans who started watching because of that, they started getting mad at Hale and were like, wait, why were you like saying this if this was going to happen? Like, this isn't nice. Like, what the heck? And Hale had to be like, I'm so sorry. I literally didn't know. Like, no one told me. I wouldn't have done that. And Hale doesn't, like, identify as anything, from my knowledge, except for, like, queer. I believe he's married to a woman, but he says he is queer. But, like, to put a queer actor in that position, where they're upsetting their own community and not on purpose,
right,
is just so, like, mean. Like, not nice. Even if they wanted to keep it from their other actors. Like, they wanted some sort of secret. Hale could have known. Hale could have known.
That's why, I'm like, we presume they knew when people were doing interviews, and I would assume as a showrunner, if I were one, I'd want to know that. Like, what magazine are you doing? Like, good luck with that. That's going to be awesome.
Well, also, if, like, Hale Appleman, or Eliot as a character, has an entire episode about him, like, it's him focused, and focused on this relationship that people care about, whether you know exactly what interviews he's going to be doing or not, he's going to be doing something.
Right.
Like,
he's on Twitter.
Yeah, he's definitely going to be doing press for it, so, I don't know.
And the showrunners were on Twitter. They interacted with the fans. So did he. So did the other actors. Often.
Yeah, all of them. And it's just so,
it was all very friendly.
It's and so awkward, because I don't know who else was. I think the actor who played Penny, I'm sorry, I don't know anyone's name. But the actor who played Penny, I believe, I think the actors who played Margot, a couple of people, they were all apologizing. And it's like, you shouldn't have to apologize. As an actor, it's not your responsibility. That's the responsibility of the showrunner and the producers who weren't doing their jobs very respectfully, and now you're having to apologize for what they did.
If this was like #1 network show, all of those main actors would have producer credits by season 4, and they would know what's coming.
Yeah.
But this was sci-fi, and
they didn't have that kind of
they weren't going to have that kind of clout.
Yeah.
To know what's going or be able to talk about
it. It's very similar to the Supernatural situation in the sense that, like, you're having your actors pick up the pieces of a drama that you created.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Also, it's the same person. So, there's that. Love you, though. If you want to come on our show and talk to us.
Wait, which one? Sarah Gamble?
Sarah Gamble.
Yeah.
If you want to come talk to us, we can be respectful.
You can, yeah. You can come talk about Willow and Tara.
Oh, was she involved in that too?
No, I don't think so, actually.
Oh, okay.
For some reason, I constantly mix up Sarah Gamble and some writer that got started on Buffy.
I was like, damn, if she did Buffy
and I don't think
too,
it's her.
like,
now I have to double check again to make sure I'm not saying that backwards.
No, but literally wasn't the Magicians and Supernatural like a year apart?
The finales, yeah.
Yeah. So
which she was involved with that.
The Magicians happened, and then a year later, Supernatural mistake happened. So I guess she didn't learn anything, even though she apologized. I'm sorry. I'm being sorry.
Yeah, I think, for some reason, I connect writers on Supernatural with writers on Buffy because a lot of them are names I started to really recognize and see when they worked on other things. Yeah. So I mix her up with someone from Buffy constantly, and I don't even remember who now.
Yeah. But no, she made the same mistake twice.
Yeah.
So.
In a row.
If she makes the same mistake again, we'll talk about it.
This one, they didn't have the pandemic excuse.
Exactly. So they didn't have any excuse.
They didn't have to kill
This
people.
was just shit. Anyway.
I think that's all we got on.
No.
You have more?
Yeah. More.
You want to say more horrible things about her?
No, I'm sorry. I'm being respectful, but we didn't do our shtick.
That was what I was going to say. I think we're done with the show. We never did our actual things that we do. Because,
okay, so who named you that?
Yeah, we don't have to do the test because this show passes all of them.
It does.
Regularly.
It does.
The whole point to our discussion is that absolutely Quentin's death mattered to the plot of the show.
Good job. And Eliot is queer without it being his whole personality.
Right.
Good job. So yeah.
So who named you that?
Props to them for that.
Eliot Waugh, fine.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, fine.
He sounds British, which I don't think Eliot is, but it's a fine, isn't it?
Yeah, it's fine. Okay, whatever.
Waugh's a real name.
Quentin Coldwater.
Quentin Coldwater sounds made up.
That is a character
name.
If
you're British, you might be named Quentin or have the last name Coldwater.
No.
But it sounds made up. It sounds like
it's
book
bullshit.
hero made up. What are the other people's last names?
Julia Wicker? Is it Wicker?
That sounds like a real name.
Julia Wicker. That works. Alice.
It's Julia Wicker. Alice is Quinn.
Alice Quinn.
It sounds a little basic, but it doesn't sound...
Why is Alice Quinn dating
up.
Quentin Coldwater? I don't know. I don't like that.
Yeah, their ship name could just be Quentin.
I'm not.
You don't even have to do anything.
I don't know. I don't like that.
Margot Hansen, that's fine.
That's alright.
What is Penny's actual name?
I don't know, but it's made up.
No, his character's name is William. For some reason, I thought Penny came from an actual name, but his name is William Adiotti.
Alright, I guess that
Sounds
works.
real.
That's fine.
I didn't know Katie's last name was Orloff Diaz. That's cool.
Kind of sounds like a character.
No, it sounds...
Especially the way it's spelled. Not the last name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, K-A-D-Y.
Yeah, no.
But Orloff Diaz is interesting because it suggests Orloff is like some sort of Eastern European, maybe Russian name, and then Diaz, Hispanic, some sort. So it's suggesting it's two people got together that were kind of probably interesting.
It's kind of middle of the road for the name scale, I think.
Henry Fogg sounds made up. That's the dean.
Henry Fogg, yeah.
Josh Hoberman, totally a real name.
That's fair.
And Josh is awesome.
Yeah, Josh is cool.
I was going to say Tick Pickwick, but he's from Fillory, so his name's going to be made up.
Did we forget anyone? Isn't that the whole group?
That's all the main people, I
Okay.
think, yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I'd say it ranks middle of the road for the name scale. Some of the names are a little wonky, but...
Now, Triangle. Is this healthy representation?
Am I making this up?
Am I making this up right? Sorry, the title.
Am I making this up? No, you're not.
You are not.
Because it's facts.
It's actively part of the show.
It
The
is.
actors buy into it. The writers buy into it.
It was cute.
It was, aside from the death part of it,
cute.
specifically, a relatively healthy representation
Well-
of people. No.
No, it wasn't healthy. It was cute, though.
It's a realistic representation.
Sure.
It's not a negative representation. It's not like they're playing them for laughs.
Neither of the
Elliot's problem is
characters-
realistic.
Neither
and
of
he
the
doesn't-
characters are really healthy, so I can't really call the relationship healthy, but...
True. Okay, fine.
But it is actual.
But it is, I think there's a little bit leaning that way, because it is openly like, these people are this, there's nothing wrong with that.
Totally. Okay, cool. Yeah, so yeah, representation.
Queer baiting. Possibly.
Yeah, not the whole time.
If the showrunners knew that Hale Appleman was going to be interviewed by Out Magazine right as season 4 was starting and didn't tell him that there would be no Quelliot next season, then I'd say you definitely get points in the queer baiting side of the triangle.
Sure.
If they didn't, that's just maybe not good show running. I don't know.
I think it wasn't queer baiting the whole time.
No.
Like, definitely for the first few seasons it wasn't. But whatever time period passed from season 4 episode 5 to season 4 finale, that was some baiting territory going on.
Yeah. Especially after he did the interview.
Especially, oh my god, imagine you're a fan who started watching because of that. You binge watch the whole show so that you can watch the season 4 finale when it airs.
Mm-hmm.
And then you watch the season 4 finale and you're just like, why did I do that?
Right.
Why did I waste all my time becoming so invested in this thing that I can no longer be really invested in?
Yeah. So, a little bit of all three?
Yeah, it's really...
I think the show generally is somewhat positive in how it portrays mental health, LGBT stuff, and it doesn't technically buy into the bury your deads thing.
Bury your dead?
Bury your deads, bury your gays. Well...
Okay, yeah, so it definitely is in the middle of the triangle. Kind of covers everything, so that's cool.
It's all around the edges.
Yeah.
It's a bit of everything.
Okay.
Thank you for listening. 50v20 is a production of Lemming Drops Studio. You can find links to this show and more at lemmingdrops.com.
Subscribe to the show and review the show on your favorite podcatcher.
Join the Facebook group at Lemming Drops Studio Tour for updates.
Follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at 50v20podcast. And send us gifts.
And support the show at patreon.com/lemmingdrops.
Bye!